How y'all all welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Greeting you today on this beautiful Monday, best day of the work week, as Republican-led House is telling us more taxes, more income taxes. Yes, more taxes. And out of Baton Rouge. And what are they going to fix? Nothing. It's phenomenal. Anyway, we got all that coming up, and I've really got a hot show today, and I got it lined up on what's going on in Baton Rouge, and I'm still trying to figure out Republican-led taxes are coming out of Baton Rouge, and the one-term governor, John Bell Edwards, and Jay Darden, the co-governor, are winning, and we got the majority. Unbelievable. Anyway, kind of helped sort us out what happened anyway. Representative Alan Seabaugh, who, by the way, has been one of the good guys and been one of the fighters in trying to stop this craziness called what's going on in Baton Rouge. Anyway, Alan, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing this morning, Mo?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, Alan, I know you were disappointed in what should have been killed in some of these bills just should have been absolutely destroyed on the Ways and Means, and yet they were able to pass. And I want you to tell us what passed. I know there was at least 5 bills that you can talk about that passed and what each one of these bills will do. That's what I wanted for you to talk to about, because I know you're frustrated as I am, and I'm very frustrated now.
I am. 2 of them are really troubling. One of them, the 5th penny of sales tax goes away at the end of June. One of them would reinstitute a 0.25% sales tax, which is about a $220 million tax, and remove some exemptions from the other 2, the other 4 existing pennies. It's a total of about a $300 million.
Now, by the way, Alan, Representative Seabaugh, when you say remove, they're going to clean it up a little bit. That means I'm taking it. They're going to tax even more items. That's what I'm taking.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
There's certain things are exempt from sales tax, and they're removing the exemptions.
Can you talk?
So you're going to pay more sales tax on more things.
Can you mention just a few of those things? I know you're tired. I know you're up late night. I didn't know if you had that.
I can pull the bill up. I mean, it was like 11 pages. I mean, it's a lot of things. Most of it's hitting business.
Most of it. Say that again. Most of it's hitting what?
Businesses.
So we increased business taxes last night. I mean, if they didn't pass yet, but it passed the committee.
That's correct. It came out of committee yesterday. That was the only Republican-authored bill. The others were all authored by Democrats. Rob Shadowin's technically a Republican, but I got him category. He's has one of the Democrat bills. That was sponsored by Republicans.
Rob Shadow is famous for saying, I hate raising taxes. I don't want to vote for them, but he votes for every one of them. So you increase business taxes, and that's that one. What else did they do?
Well, the other scary one was they brought back the bad part of Stelly. As you recall, 2007, if you were running for office, Gendel's first, when he got elected the first time, if you didn't say you were going to repeal Stelly, you got run out of the primary.
Sure.
And so Stelly, the bad part of Stelly got repealed. The income tax component of Stelly got repealed. The House Bill 8 by Representative Walt Leger actually puts most of that back in. So one of the things that came out of committee was hitting people with the Stelly tax again. So removing your itemizations of things like your local, when you can no longer deduct your property taxes from your state income taxes, things like that.
So we're going to have Stelly 2, where we voted out, that should have been voted out. They're bringing that back, and once again, I say it's been Republican-led, because with 11-7, with Republicans and Democrats on the Ways and Means Committee, it had to be Republican-led. I mean, my God, now we got taxes on businesses, and we got taxes back on middle and upper-income people. Wow, Alan! Wow.
Yeah, the closest vote we had in committee all day was two of them came out 10-7. That was the best we could do with, I think,
you got 11
on the other side.
You got 11-7 advantage, and the closest vote you had was 10-7. It was going the other way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, losing 10-7 was the best we could do.
Wow.
And what was really funny, and I'm not going to name names, but I was walking out of committee, and there was a Republican on the committee who is a good friend of mine. We're coming out of committee, we're on the way to the floor, and we're talking about one of the bills, and he said, "That's a horrible bill. I could never vote for that." And I said, "You just did." And he said, "No, that was a committee vote. That doesn't count."
No, it does count.
No, it was a chance to kill the bill. So yes, it absolutely counts.
Yeah, and I guess your biggest, I can't believe that a person walks out and said, I'll never vote for that on the floor. And this is what bothers me. Alan, I got to tell you, Representative Alan Seabaugh, my special guest, I don't see the leadership jumping up and stopping this, number one. Number two is, what bothers me is, if they would have killed this in the committee, and both of these should have been killed it in the committee, then you don't have to worry about it. Now that it's out, those same Republicans are going to vote against it because they're going to give, all the Democrats are going to vote for this mess, and then they're going to be 12 or 13 Republicans vote for it. They only need 53 votes to move it along. And, of course, you got John Alario sitting over there in the Senate. No telling what he's going to change them bills back to create even more money for state government.
Yeah, and this was all tied to a plan where the Democrats have agreed to pass four budget reform items. And two of them, one of them is the Louisiana checkbook I know you've talked about, which is something that would be fantastic for the people of Louisiana to be able to see where their money is being spent, which you absolutely cannot right now. One of them is a way to change the spending cap so that we don't have all the mid-year and end-of-the-year cuts, and to try to control the rate of growth a lot better than we're doing now. And the other two are Medicaid efficiencies, which the Democrats really don't like. So the plan was for the Democrats to support those four bills and attach them to these bills. And so if they don't pass, then these don't pass. So it was a compromise. That's why you had Republicans who were voting for it, because they made it a decision that getting these these budget reform items is worth taking the hit on taxes.
But it's not, because
I don't think it's worth it.
I think we gave up everything to get very little. I think we gave up everything. We've not changed. Listen, from Bell Edwards back to Edwin Edwards, nothing's changed in the state of Louisiana. And the reason it hadn't changed, because nobody wants it to change. Absolutely no change. This government is just like the rest of them, in my book. They don't want nothing to change. And then we cutting deals with the devil to do this stuff. And the bottom line is, will any of it get done? Who's going to do the Ohio checkbook? When is that going to do? Is that Jay Darden going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, clearly they don't want to. Jay and the administration are resisting the checkbook.
Absolutely.
I mean, what was really funny is they said, we had the guy from Ohio that said it cost $800,000 to put in the Ohio checkbook in Ohio. And the Louisiana has already spent, I think it was $70 million trying to fix our current website, and they're trying to get $29 million more for the website for a Yugo.
No. It's worse than that.
Doesn't work.
They already spent $100 million. They're trying to get another $29 million for LA Track. $126 million when it's said and done. And I've had people tell me they can't find half the crap they're looking for.
No, you can't. It's $126 million for a Yugo when you can pay $800,000 and get a Ferrari.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense.
I just think the Stelly bill, cleaning up the pennies, it looks like to me the governor's winning, and the Republicans as a whole, not you, because a lot of Republicans trying to hold this thing down, are losing, and we got the majority. That doesn't even make any sense to me. That's like, hey, winning a football game. We're playing a football game and it's 11-on-1 and we getting beat. That don't make sense to me. Think about that. We play basketball. The other team's got one player and we got 5. And at the end of the game, they beat us 100-99. We get beat. How you get beat? How are we getting beat, Alan?
If you look at the individuals, there was one Republican member who was against all the bills, didn't show up.
I saw Mike Huvall or something like that. Didn't even show up for a vote.
Yeah. And I don't really want to name names, but we had one I had counted in my column. I had one counted in my column as a vote against all the bills who didn't show up, and a couple of others that I had thought were going to vote to kill flipped and voted yes. And a couple were surprising, some weren't, but a couple of them were.
Alan Seabaugh, Representative Seabaugh, my special guest, talking about what went on in the session yesterday. What other bills? Is there anything else that got through that you were surprised about?
Oh, yesterday it was just the 5. What we're going to do today is on the floor. We have everything that has come out of committee so far. the budget reforms, everything that's come out of committee so far is going to be on the floor today. The stuff that the Republican bills, the Medicaid deficiencies and all that, along with the Democrat bills, the tax bills, it's all going to be on the floor today, starting in about 45 minutes, and we'll see. I mean, there's some non-controversial stuff. There's a couple that aren't that big a deal, but there's some that are. So I would imagine it's going to be a knockdown, drag out on every bill all day today.
Well, let's do this. Take a quick break. Come back. About 6-7 minutes left. Wrap up with you. When I get back, you said budget reform. I don't see this as budget reform at all. Maybe they're calling it that, but I see this as a budgetary swap, which has nothing to do with real reform. But anyway, we'll talk to Representative Alan Seabaugh, who's been there. Republicans took it on the chin, even though they had 11 votes versus 7 Democrats. Now we know what Republicans for Edwards mean. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Representative Alan Seabaugh, my special guest for just a few more minutes. Alan, you mentioned the words budget reform, but were there really any budget reforms?
The House Bill 12, Taylor Barra's bill to change the expenditure limit calculation, will prevent us from growing faster than the rate of inflation, faster than the rate of the economy, faster than we should. So it's something. He went back and did the calculation backward, and if it had been in place the last 11 years, we would have only had to raise the expenditure limit one time, and it would have maintained and restricted the rate of growth. So it's something that's out there. The Louisiana checkbook is a transparency measure that I think is long overdue, because I was on the budget committee for 3 years, appropriations that wrote the budget for 3 years, and by the end of the 3 years, I could kind of figure out where the money was. It's really, really difficult to understand the budget process, and that's serving 3 years on the committee.
Well, this is definitely no tax reform in this.
No, there's no tax reform at all.
No,
it's budget reform and tax increases.
Yeah, it's big time tax increases, and you agree with me? Taxes on the middle and upper income, and taxes on businesses.
Yes.
I mean, that is not the way you draw companies in here. That's not the way you prop up your business community. And you got Republicans voting with Bell Edwards and Jay Darden. I don't understand that.
But that was the point I kept making in committee last night. Is if you look every statistic, every graph, everything I've seen as far as in-migration and out-migration, as far as the level of the economy, if you want to create jobs, if you want people making money, if you want a state's government coffers to do well, what you need to do is lower taxes, create business incentives, because businesses move to where the state tax structure treats them best, and they're going to create jobs, and then the people are going to move where the jobs are. Louisiana is going exactly the wrong direction. We're the only southern state losing population because we're the only southern state with a liberal Democrat governor that tries to raise taxes every year. And if you look across the board, it's really, we're such an outlier in the South, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And there are northern states that are losing population, but we're the only southern state that's losing population. Atlas Van Lines put a graph up of the country with the states color coded, and Louisiana sticks out like a sore thumb. We're the only state south in the southern half of the country going all the way to the west coast that's losing population, and it's because of our government structure.
Well, it's government structure, it's business structure, people, and it's also jobs. People move to where jobs are. I guarantee you couldn't sit down with our governor and tell him this. You really couldn't, because they wouldn't understand it.
Now, I asked it to the representative that was carrying the bills in committee yesterday, and his argument was, well, if we improve the education, if we spend more money on higher ed, then people will move here because our education system is so good. And that's just ridiculous. I mean,
I'll tell you that people will move here because if we fix our roads are so good, which is an even dumber thing than what you just said.
Yeah.
It's
one of those. The argument. Every statistic, every argument, no matter what you look at, states that have no income tax or have low income tax, populations are growing drastically by leaps and bounds. And states that are like us, that the businesses, they have no idea what to expect because this is the third year in a row that we've raised business, fourth year in a row that we've raised business day. We hit them the last year of Jindal, and then John Bell's done it 3 years in a row now. And there's no reductions here. That's 4 years in a row of tweaks. They call it haircuts. They use all these little terms. We're just taking a little bit. $11 million is not a little bit. And if we're going to we're going to hit them, we're going to give them a tweak or a haircut every year. All of a sudden, what you've done is you've made Louisiana, like California, a state that business can't make a profit, so they look for somewhere else to go. I really don't want to turn into Detroit, and
no.
We're on our way. We're certainly an outlier. We've already run the oil and gas industry out because of the trial lawyers and the lawsuits.
Yep.
If the oil and gas, if you look in those, if you could decide whether you're going to drill in Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, or Arkansas, Louisiana is going to be your fourth choice on that list because those other three don't have trial lawyers waiting at the state border to sue them as soon as they cross the line. And it's from a business regulation, from a tax standpoint, from a litigation standpoint, Louisiana is an outlier. And all you have to do is look at the states around us and how much better they're doing to see. And this package of bills that we're going to debate today is going the wrong direction. And this is not a solution. This is putting us further as the outlier, further in the wrong direction, and it's exactly what we don't need.
But the thing about it is, I expect this from Bill Edwards and Jay Darden because this is what they've been doing all their lives. I don't expect the people to keep voting for Republicans who are leading the charge to help Bill Edwards increase taxes. Leading the charge. That's frustrating to me. I mean, the white, without saying name, the Stevens fella, he wanted a quarter-cent sales tax permanent. He was all upset because he got a permanent, and that's a Republican leading the charge for a permanent tax. Unbelievable.
Well, before I tried to kill it, I put an amendment on it that at least made it temporary.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I put I wanted a 24-month. I had one representative said I'll vote against 24, but I'll vote yes if it's 36. So I made it 36, picked up a vote, got the amendment on, and so at least it's going to go away after 2021, which will give us 3 years to fix it, and we'll have this debate again in 3 years, I guess.
All right, Alan Sebald, thank you, Alan. We'll do it again. God bless. Good luck. Thank you for voting right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. We'll take a quick break. More to come, folks. I'm just cranking up. You don't believe me? Hang around and watch. I'm livid, and I'll get to all that moment. Hi, y'all. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Folks, this is getting old. From Edwin Edwards to Bill Edwards, same old crap. Nothing changes in the state. We continue to try to run our businesses out of the state. We continue to pound the middle and working class people of the state. Stelly bill, that's what Stelly did. They're shining it back in there. And they're just putting it back in there. And this is what happens. Trump gave us a tax cut. Because of Louisiana's laws, we didn't get the tax break. We have to pay to them now, part of that, a big portion of what you got if you itemize. Now they're going to take away the rest of them itemized deductions, and all of a sudden you will be paying more taxes than you've ever paid. And what are we getting for the number of taxes we're paying the state government? What's being fixed, folks? Nothing. Are we dealing with the unaccrued liability? No. Are we fixing roads? No. Are we fixing poverty? No. What are we fixing? We fixing schools? No. We're not fixing anything. We hadn't fixed anything, and I've been following this since Edwin Edwards to Bill Edwards. Bill Edwards is no different than Jindal, than Blanco, than Foster, than Edwin Edwards. There's no difference. Nobody's changing anything in the state. And we got Republicans for Bill Edwards. I knew the signs when they were running for governorship, and now I knew. We know Jay Darden, the knife stabber and the backstabber that he is. We got a lot of Jay Darden Republicans out there, folks. I'm talking about a bunch of Jay Darden Republicans out there. Jay Darden Republican is a liberal Republican. That's what we have in the legislature. Think about what I'm about to tell you. We vote all these Republicans in, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck are we doing voting Republicans in. So the Republicans get the majority. They vote. The first thing the Senate does is put Lario as the Senate president. He's a lifetime liberal Democrat. And he changes to Republican under Bobby Jindal, and he becomes the Senate president, and he now runs the show. The bottom line is him and Jay Darden are running the show. And they're showing how liberal Republicans run the show. So we get Taylor Barra, and by the way, I'm disappointed in very disappointed in the leadership, and I've interviewed a lot of the guys. I'm upset that they didn't stop this. You kill stuff in the committee. The reason they let it out to committee, watch this, it's going to pass with most of the Democrats and enough Republicans to pass it, and all the ones we're talking about are going to vote no. They're going, I ain't vote for that. I ain't vote for that. So let's see now. We get 11-7 in the number of seats on the Ways and Means. 11 Republicans and 7 Democrats. And the five major bills, by the way, Jay Morris may be calling in. And if he calls in, Brandon, we should put him Representative Morris out of Monroe. The 5 major bills, the most votes the Republicans got was the 5 major bills. The most votes a Republican got was a 10-7 vote. We got 7 and they got 10, yet we have the Republican votes. The Republican votes should stop some of this stuff. And we're putting Stelly back on us? How in the world can you have a Republican-led committee not come in with their plan and vote their plan? It ought to never happen like that. Bill Edwards is getting everything they want. Everything he wants, and it's led by Republicans. I don't care what anybody says. You got the leadership. You own the House and the Senate, so-called conservative Republicans. And you're gonna take more money. These bills, if they pass, will take more money out of middle-class pocket and hurt businesses at the same time. Because we have a spending problem and nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to deal with the spending problem. And Republicans are leading the charge. That's frustrating to me. Very frustrating. And let me tell you something, folks. I'll say it again. I don't care who calls me. From Bill Edwards all the way back to Edwin Edwards, nothing changes in this state. Not one dang thing changes in the state of Louisiana because nobody wants to change it. Not one governor has made a difference. Not one. And not one representative or senator in my book has made a difference. All right. He wanted to call in. I sure want to let him on. Representative Jay Morris joins us. How you doing, Jay?
Hey, Moon. I'm great.
Good to hear from you.
The state's messed up, but I'm doing fine, personally.
Well, look, you
the kids are all employed.
Well, Jay, though, but you right down there with them. I mean, you voted for a couple of the bills to get through, too.
Well, I voted against anything that would increase taxes on individuals.
Okay.
I voted against the increase in sales tax, and I voted against the increase in income tax. I voted.
Why did you vote to affect businesses? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Jay, I don't care what you say or anybody else. We're losing people. They're going on jobs in other places. They're leaving. Down here, the lawyers are bombing all companies, and the liability insurance and car insurance is getting ridiculous. Why would you vote any taxes on businesses? I'm just asking.
I didn't vote for any taxes, Moon. I voted like, for example, I voted to keep the credits, the incentive credits trimmed that we had done back in 2015, when Jenda was in power, and that bill and the people came to the table and testified that our generosity in giving money to business that our individuals pay for, after that bill, we will still be the 5th most generous tax incentive program in the nation. And the 4 above us, none of are in our area. Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, none of those are above us. We have the most generous in the Deep South. And so why would we give more?
But let me stop you there. And by the way, I'm not going to cut you off, Jay Morris, representative, but I do want to ask this question. Why don't we, since we quote led by Republicans, why don't we just make this the friendliest business state in the country? Then we don't give anybody a dang thing. We don't give anybody an incentive. They see that our companies are doing well because we got low taxes. And I'm asking this question. You may have had bills that addressed this before. So we lower it. Everybody pays the same tax. And then businesses grow here and new businesses come and come here and hire people and things of that nature. Why can't we come up with a solution that simple?
You were preaching to the choir. That's what I would like to do. Except that in this state, businesses are hooked on special exemptions and credits. There are companies that show that they haven't had a profit in Louisiana in 20 years, even though their companies are making money nationwide, because there's too much of a way to game the system.
Can I stop you a second, Jay? Who set the system up? I didn't. My producer, Brandon Como, didn't. Somebody set up this system, and if lawmakers, I'm only including you, not that you set it up, but I'm including you because you're a lawmaker. Lawmakers set this crap up. Lawmakers went out there and bought businesses. I didn't do it. So if lawmakers created it, can't lawmakers fix it?
They should be able to, but it's like a high politically charged church committee with 144 people, all with a different idea, and then the special interest. Let's be honest. The special interests in our state, whether they're business or bureaucrats, they're there to stay. We're temporary, and they look at us as dupes on a giant, complex chessboard, and they say, well, if we don't have this exemption, we're leaving the state. So they get an exemption. Well, guess what? Every time you give one entity an exemption, then that puts pressure on to get the money from somewhere else.
Jay, I'm not arguing. I've been watching this as long or longer than you, so I understand. I've been down there, but I've been watching it. That's what I meant earlier. Where's the leadership that does what's right for the whole group? Where's the leadership where we take business taxes, we go look at Texas or whatever state you want to look at, that's comparable, that could take our business taxes down where they're so competitive, we don't have to buy another business ever again. I understand what you're saying. I understand lobbyists.
Well,
but we're not going to change anything by making excuses. I'm going to tell you. You just made excuses by saying the lobbyists lobby. We're not changing anything by making up excuses. I'm telling you we're not.
I understand. Look, you're talking to somebody who's been beating his head against the wall. You've got somebody who among the liberals, I'm considered one of the most conservative spenders, tight-fisted. But on the other hand, I have special interests offering hundreds of thousands of dollars of money to run against me because I'm independent. And I say exactly, I'm a Republican, but I say what I feel.
Jay.
And I would like to eliminate all subsidies, lower the tax rates, and let people bring their own capital and don't rely on the government to provide your capital and keep the rates low.
But Jay, listen to me. So you run on your principles, you stick to your principles, you try to get as many people like you, and if they don't do it, then you go home and you go work in the climate. But here's the sad thing. I've been watching this since Edwin Edwards to Bell Edwards. I don't see anything that's changed. I don't see one thing that's changed. I'm not pointing at you. I know you. I know there's some good things you try to do, some things we disagree, and that's cool. But the point being is we don't have enough good people. Let me back up. Probably all y'all are good people. We don't have enough people that will do what's right to make this state a great state. We got an out-migration problem again, Jay. They're leaving because of jobs, and we just increased taxes on businesses and individuals. And by the way, no, they hadn't passed it yet because they hadn't passed the House. Trust me. You know yourself. You want to kill something, you kill it in committee. Bringing back the Stelly bill, calling that progress, I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all.
And I was shocked when that got out of committee. I didn't know it was going to get out. I thought that bill was dead until the vote happened. I was quite honestly surprised.
But they got it now. Wouldn't you agree with me with all the Democrats wanting to vote for that and enough 12, 13 Republicans? They only need 53 votes to get that out now. And then John Alario's going to get it over there, and he's going to start changing that up, making it worse.
I agree. Look, I was surprised. The sales tax bill, I knew it would have a good chance of getting out. The Democrats were acting like they weren't going to vote for it, but they voted for it in the end. And let's be honest. Some business interests want to see the sales tax raised. Okay? Your listeners need to understand. Business interests, some business interests want to see the sales tax raised because it makes individuals, everybody in the state, we'll all pay that. Our people who live here, so that other special interests can keep their little credits and goodies. So you need to, your listeners should understand that dynamic. That you think the business lobby would be jumping up and down about that, but they're not.
Well, I listen. I'll say it again, and me and you've talked before. If we'll make the state the friendliest business state, to where if you took every business, hundreds of thousands of businesses in this state, and or maybe it's 50 or whatever it is, a big number. If everybody added a job, we'd be so much better off. So why don't we make it friendly here, and then businesses will come. I agree. We don't have to do incentives. We don't have to buy them. But that's what we do. And so you're right. It gets caught up in the blood, and Louisiana never changes. But, man, I tell you what, we really need some leaders to change this. And my disappointment is if you look at some of the tax bills, they're coming from Republicans, Jay. They're coming from Republicans. Mm-hmm. Representative Morrison, that's what frustrates me. I mean, why am I voting Republican again? 11-7 on this committee. You could pass anything you want to pass. You could stop anything you want to stop. Yet nothing changes. That's what I don't understand. That's why I'm frustrated with it.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
But see, you know the difference between you and me? The difference between you is me. You're surprised. I'm not the least bit surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Mm-hmm. I'm not, Jay. I'm Representative Morris. I'm not surprised at all.
I guess I'm naive.
Well, I don't know about naive because you're a pretty smart guy, but I'm telling you, I am not shocked at all. I was called Friday and said, boy, did you talk about what's coming Sunday? And then I made some phone calls, and I went, oh, my God. I started to do 2 live programs this weekend in Lafayette just to remind people what was going to happen, and it happened exactly like I was told it would happen.
No, you predicted well. But as a parting, I need to go inside because we're about to start. But on debating these very bills. But one of the things I will say, and I'm not here to defend the Republicans, but I will say that they are fearful that Governor Edwards will do things in a way with the budget once it comes through that will hurt things that are important to middle class people, and one of which is TOPS. We already know he'll cut TOPS in order to give his core constituencies more social services, and so we have people that are out there wondering whether they're going to have to literally mortgage their house to send their kids to college this fall or in a couple of years. And that is a political football, that and higher ed and these trade schools that we need, that our business community does say we need better educated graduates. We want to hire them, but we can't find them. So that's how Republicans are being scared into voting for some of these tax measures. Personally, I'm not going to raise taxes on individuals 1 cent until everybody is paying something. And then if we still need more money, come and see me.
Yeah. All right, we got to run. Representative Jay Morris, good luck.
Thanks for allowing me on, man.
All right. Appreciate the call. Anytime. Any of the representatives can call. By the way, Rob Chadouin, no Louisianans are under tax, even though there are only 4 states in the United States that have overall lower tax base. So you can't say we're overtaxed by any means. Rob Chadouin. I hope to have that, Brandon. I'm going to send this to you. That's right. I ain't raising taxes, but I'm going to raise every dang one of them. What a joke that guy is. He needs to be a liberal Democrat. That's what he is. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. I appreciate Jay Moore. Me and Jay go round and round, but I like the people that are willing to call, whether you agree or disagree with them. And me and Jay have been like that since day one. So we like, we agree, we don't. And I didn't disagree with a lot of things he said. I'm just saying that I appreciate those guys calling in, or ladies. By the way, Robert Adley, this is a fact. It was on Kill Radio. We'll take some calls. He sat behind Representative Dorothy Horton and made the comment to her, well, I'm just sitting here to watch, see the look on your face when all of our bills pass. Now, Robert Adley is a totally rear end. He's a total embarrassment. Voted for every one of Jindal's budgets. His wife got some kind of government guru job. He passed the bill to make himself wealthy. He's sitting there smiling like he's done something. And he's one of the reasons the state's screwed up, but he gets to sit there and do that. By the way, Rob Chadouin, Mr. Liberal himself, I'll get to him, too, because he made a comment on Keel that's outright lie. The little Rob Chadouin, I ain't raising taxes, and votes for every single one. Republican. These J. Dawton Republicans are wiping us out. They're J. Dawton Republicans. That's right. They're not social conservative. They're not fiscal conservative. They're Republicans for Edwards. All right, Brandon, I'm taking it. Dwayne first. Dwayne in New Iberia. How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing fine, Moon, until I heard this morning just now. I've been out of state working. Is that true? They just pushed the Stelly bill to the floor?
Yeah, no, what they did was that a big part of the itemized deduction on middle class and up passed out of the Ways and Means, and we had 11 Republicans and 7 Democrats. And the Democrats won every 5 different bad votes they won. 5 of them. And by the way, Mike Huval of St. Martin Parish, a Republican. Now, I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I heard he didn't even show up. Now, maybe he had personal problems. I don't know. But nobody told me he did. They said he just didn't show up and vote at all. That was one vote they lost right there. And the best vote they got, they lost 10-7. This is with Republican-led Ways and Means.
Well, you talk about out-migration. I work in the oil and gas industry. I've had to take a job in the Rocky Mountains, so I'm gone 23 days a month between my travel and work up there in Colorado, Utah, Wyoming. And now I'm having to pay income tax in 3 states, Louisiana, Colorado, and Utah. I'm not going to keep doing it if they keep this up. I just move my ass up there and be done with them.
Dwayne, when you do move, and you're going to move, it's going to be because of that. You got less take-home pay. Businesses are getting hit harder. Look, I'm being honest. They're lying. I don't have any. Why would I lie? I love it here. I'm not leaving.
I know you're being honest. I just don't see the point. If they're going to keep doing this to us, why stick around? They want to worry about out-migration. My kid just graduated from UL. They wound up jacking us on tops the last semester. And we had to wind up funding that ourselves. She got a job locally. She's teaching school here. But if we move, she's moving too.
Yeah, I got a feeling, and Jay Morris, Representative Morris, said it right. Bell Edwards is the one playing with that top stuff. That's a Jay Dawton, Bell Edwards thing right there. Anyway, thanks for the call. Hope you don't move, but I see you moving in the future. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Well, Brandon, I did it on Saturday. Me and the bride, Maddie, went to Shucks. And so I made the cardinal sin. They were doing oysters. I said, boy, I'd love some big juicy ones. And they brought me a dozen of them. I ate them all. Then we ate the ball crawfish. Oh, my God. I've been stuffed going to eat with Bertrand and Bert. Of course, Bert was there. David wasn't there. I don't know when I ate that much. It's no telling me the crawfish we ate. But if you eat them big old oysters, you can get full. They were gigantic. They were so good. And the crawfish, there's nobody here doing any better crawfish than Shucks. And I'm going to tell you what, the quality of the crawfish were really good. They weren't them little bitty ones that, a lot of people had to sell them because they wanted to sell them early with all the cold weather. They are really getting pretty.
Yeah.
And so I got to bring you now. Oh, I got no choice now but to bring you back. Because I'll tell you what, that was really, really good. And so, anyway, Abbeville, I was stuffed. I got to tell you, Miss Maddie had a smile on her face.
I bet she did.
She did. She ate some claws and fishes and appetizer, and then she had them big old fried shrimp that they have. So me and Tanya ate the crawfish. We were stuffed, trust me. It was really good, but it's always good at Shucks. Always. All right. By the way, everybody's sitting around. I met a lot of fans of the program, too. Met a nice couple when I was leaving. I met a whole table. He told his wife, he said, that's Moon Griffon, listen to his voice. He went over there and introduced himself, and he said his wife told him, you're crazy, that's not Moon Griffon. He might be crazy, I don't know that, but it was me. Anyway, it was good to meet him. All right, 844-766-6607, Hickson has it hotline. Folks, I appreciate the caller. Who's the caller? Dwayne from New Iberia. He's working in Colorado. He's trying to pay 3 different income taxes. He's going to eventually leave. What they passed yesterday just was in the Ways and Means. It's not passed the House yet, but Now that you kill bills in committees. You don't let them get to the House, because now if it gets to the House, most of the stuff's going to take 53 votes. You've got about 40 Democrats. It only takes 12 or 13 Republicans. And look at Rob Shadwan, Dwight Stevens, who, by the way, is pushed more taxes. Julie Stokes, Broadwater, voted for every one of them out of Hammond. He's got a government job he's getting ready to go to. A government job he's getting ready to go to. Okay? You can go down the list of all these big... Barry Ivey voted against every one of them. But if they need him in the regular vote, I'm sure they can get old Barry. These Republicans are hurting us. The party and the leadership. You know, Taylor and Lance and you guys, I don't know what you could have done, but my God, it seems like you could have done something to rally these people against raising taxes on middle and working class people and businesses, because that's what they did yesterday. And then, remember, if it gets through the House, it goes to John Alario in the Senate. He can start adding no taxes to it. They can do whatever they want with a bill. And it ought to be frustrating to people. We need tax reform that helps people and businesses. When they start talking about any kind of tax reform in the state of Louisiana, they help state government, state government, state government. The hell with you and me. And that's what they're doing. They're going, you heard Jay Morris say, I cannot believe the Stelly bill, which it was, with the itemized deductions, got out to committee. Well, I can. He was surprised. I'm not surprised. I've been telling you when I left the Republican Party, which has been over 10 years now. I left the Republican Party watching Republicans get elected based on what they were going to do, and they do totally opposite. Now, is it all Republicans? No. Dodie Horton voted against all this crazy stuff. You know? So there are some Republicans that are trying, but it ain't enough, because you got Jay Darden Republicans. You got Republicans for Edwards. People in elected officials that are still voting. Ryan Gaddy's horrendous. He's a senator. He should never be voted back in. I don't care how many churches he goes to. The guys, you're voting for liberal Democrat policies. Gaddy's horrible. Let's face the facts. So you got these, and what makes me mad, folks, is that we have Republicans pushing taxes. It's not just that they got passed. We got Republicans that are writing the bills to push the taxes. That's phenomenal to me. This guy, what was it? What did I say? Dwight Stevens? Yeah, they were looking at him for a federal judge. Thank God. Stephen Dwight of Lake Charles, he sponsors sales tax legislation. He wanted a permanent sales tax extension. Okay? Thank God he's not a federal judge. Thank God for John Kennedy waxing him. Kennedy wouldn't wax him. He'd be sitting on a federal court, and he'd be telling, well, I'm a conservative. He's not a conservative. Not even close to conservative. Not even in a ball game with a conservative. And I don't understand, folks. We're sitting here watching the Republican Party, which, by the way, they ought to keep the elephant as their logo with a yellow streak right down the back of that son of a gun. Why are we electing Republicans? I know why we're not electing Democrats. I mean, they just send stuff to hell quick. But why are we electing Republicans to vote like Democrats? Why do we elect a Republican that's going to go vote like the Democrats, with the Democrats, and with a really liberal Democrat governor and co-governor Jay Darden? Why do you vote for one if they're going to go down there and vote the same way everybody else does? And they say, well, we're going to change the state. Nobody's changed this state. Not one person. You got 11 votes in the Ways and Means, and you can't even beat them back on taxes. And Republicans are the ones stepping forward, pushing the taxes. And the taxes they just passed was not tax reform, it's tax swaps. And it's swapping it right back on the middle class and the working class. I'm trying to figure out, what are they doing, folks? Would you tell me what these people are doing? Why did they want to get elected? Somebody please tell me why they wanted to get elected. It wasn't to change the state, that's for sure. They're not changing the state, they're running the state. You go down there. I'm not going down there. It's not my job to go down there. These people got elected to do a job, and they're not doing the job. And I'm supposed to pat them on the back? I mean, this is incredible what they're doing. Let me give you an example. Rob Shadwan, I ain't raising taxes. I ain't raises every tax. And let me show you how Rob Shadwan is a little liar. Rob Shadwan was on with Kielson this morning, and we're going to try to find this for you. I ain't raising taxes. Okay. Shadwan says, reference to proposed revenue-raising measures, the Ruston rep. No, Louisiana's aren't undertaxed. Even though there are only 4 states in the United States as an overall lower tax base, you can say we can't say we're overtaxed by any means. Now, let me tell you what he's talking about. Last week, there was a little survey that came out. Okay? And in that survey, it said we were the 5th lowest taxes in the country. Now, hold up. That's what Rob Shadwan's looking at. Okay? Here's what old Rob don't want to tell his voters. Old Rob doesn't tell his voters in that survey they did not include a bunch of taxes, and the main one they didn't include was the sales tax. So, if we have the highest sales tax in the country, and in the South by far, the highest sales tax in the country, and they don't include that in taxes, so we jump all the way up to 5th as being one of the 5th lowest taxes in the country, and they don't include the sales taxes, and we have the highest sales tax in the country. I mean, folks, think about what I'm telling you. There's old Shadwan. Well, we're not undertaxed. And anybody says we're overtaxed don't know what they're talking about. Let me give you another stat. That's the true story, too. We spend the most money in government per person in the South by far. We spend more money per person in the South by far. We spend more money per capita spending in the South by far with government. And there's Rob Shadwan. I wish Rob would come on this program. Rob won't come on this program. Rob don't want the truth. Rob couldn't handle the truth if it punched him in the mouth. And I can promise you, if he comes on here bragging about his taxes and how we lower tax, he's full of crap. For the money we make and the income we make and the out-migration problem and the business problems we have here in this great state that we have. Folks, I'm fighting for the businesses in this state. I'm fighting for you and to keep your money. I'm not talking bad about the state. I'm telling you we got to change some things to better life for you, better life for your kids, better life for me, better life for our business community. We have got to go in that direction. And with Bill Edwards and Jay Dorn, we're not going in that direction. But apparently with Republicans in charge, we're not either. It's amazing to continue to watch this. Amazing. By the way, and I have some poll numbers I'm going to get to. Brandon, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get the other one. There was a poll done in February. Fewer than one-third, Bernie Pence and that, one-third of likely voters agree the state government can be trusted. 65% don't. And we got people going, grow the government. Wait till I give you some more stats. Wait till I give you some more stats on spending and taxes and things that way. And these legislators are going totally against what their constituents are saying and thinking. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. I'll tell you what, I'm listening to Kill Radio, Robin and Aaron, and Rob Shadwan. I mean, just no clue. No clue, Rob Shadwan. No clue. What a joke. Anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Poll, Bernie Pence in that 2016 state budget. Voters' view on state spending. This was a poll done. Only 1 in 5, 20% likely voters agree that state government spends tax money wisely. 78% don't. Now, Brandon, let me get this right. 78% don't think the state spends money wisely. Why would you keep giving money to the state? I want Republicans to listen. Voters think state government has a spending problem. Okay? You read a Jim Beam piece or a Greg Hillman piece. They don't talk about spending. Every year for the past 7 years, the Louisiana voters have been told state government's facing a financial deficit. Most Louisiana voters, 61%, think state government's financial problems are primarily caused by too much spending. There's a poll for them Republicans they ought to be looking at. Think about it. Think about it. You know? The voters were asked their opinion if the state should increase revenue by raising taxes and fees. 24% said yes. 72% of the people said no. And listen to these Republicans, Rob Shadwan. 87% of Republicans said no higher taxes. There's also an opinion that the state should reduce spending. 86% of the people said yes. 97% of Republicans said yes. What are Republicans doing? They're raising taxes. Golly. 84% of Republicans say we should not be raising taxes, and yet Republicans are voting for taxes. Somebody explain this to me. Here's another stat for you. This is polls from Pensinet. All right, Brandon. Personal income tax. Remember I told you they just raised them. 3 and 4 voters, 75% oppose an increase in personal income taxes, and I'll be danged yesterday with 11-7 chance. 11-7 vote, Republicans over Democrats. They voted on a bill to increase income taxes on middle class and working people. 75% oppose it. That's the general population. 91% of Republicans oppose increasing personal income taxes. Now, how can any Republican vote for personal income taxes? And yesterday, some of them did it. You got numbers and polls. We all know what they ran on. Let's see, Louisiana voters did not perceive themselves as being in a financial position to pay more state taxes. You ready, Brandon? 69% said they're not in the position to pay any more taxes. And what does Bell Edwards and Jay Darden and the Republican delegation, along with the Democrats, do? They raise taxes. People are not ready to pay more taxes. And what are they doing? They socket it to the middle class and the businesses. Folks, it makes no sense. I'm sitting here looking at this, and all of it's, if you just look at the poll numbers, why would a Republican like Shadwan and Gaddy and all these people continue to vote for these taxes? Doesn't make any sense. By the way, Chad Rogers has already put the not under tax Rob Shadwan. I want to get to that. We may take his whole article. I do have an interview at 10:30, Brandon. I'll send it to you. Chad Rogers, Dead Pelicans, got it up and running. By the way, once again, Mike Huvall didn't even show up. Maybe he's got an excuse. I know one thing. When I talk to lawmakers, they don't know of any. You know? Somebody just wrote me and said that he probably would have voted for the taxes anyway because he's been voting against the taxpayers for a while. Why would Mike Huvall not show up? Maybe he's got an excuse. If he does, good for him. If he don't, bad for him. It's just, folks, I'm telling y'all, they're running people out of here, and these dang Republicans are killing us. Let's go to Deborah in West Monroe. Deborah, how you doing?
I'm like you, Moon. I'm just about blown away. The only reason this is being allowed to happen is because Louisiana citizens have become so complacent. When the polls are open, they stay at their jobs. They either forget to vote. They don't think their vote counts anymore. But The corruption that we're finding in the national level is in every little city, every little community. Every vote counts. The type and the character of the person you're putting in an office. The promises they make mean nothing when they win the position and do nothing. I think C.B. Froston would be real proud of you, Moon, because one thing about it, you are not letting it go unnoticed. And I try to keep my mouth shut, I really do, but it's got to the point where when I go to the polls and I see an empty page where I sign my name, I'm like, there's the problem.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, CB's turned over his grave with Bill Edwards and Jay Darden's doing with it. I know one thing, he never wanted Jay Darden nowhere near a governorship. He's running the show. We got to go. Hi, hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607, Hickson has a hotline. Third of the information you cannot get anywhere else, folks, right here on the Moon Griffon Show. We're going to jump gears for a few minutes. We'll come back and take some more of your phone calls on the Hickson Hazard Hotline. On the Hickson Hazard Hotline, I have Miss Kim Evans, National Director of Corporate Communications for True Fund Financial Services. First of all, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. All right. I think we're coming to a deadline for Restore Louisiana. Tell us what's going on.
We are in the third phase of disseminating funds. If your business was affected in March 2016 or August 2016, tomorrow is the final day.
Now, by the way, this is about the floods, correct, Kim? This is about the floods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the 2016 Louisiana floods that impacted several areas and several parishes of Louisiana.
Okay, so what?
So tomorrow is the deadline.
Okay, now when you say the deadline to do what?
So tomorrow is a deadline to get your initial application into one of the intermediaries, which True Fund is one of those intermediaries disseminating funds. Now, if you can't get all of your supporting documents in, that's okay. As long as we have that application in by tomorrow close of business, then we can give you a few additional days to get the supporting documentation in, but we're just encouraging all businesses to just flood True Fund's doors today and tomorrow and get those applications in.
Okay, so if they don't get the applications in, they're not going to qualify for any money.
Absolutely. The money is going away. That money will actually be transferred to the homeowners program. So tomorrow is the last day for small business owners. So if you do not have that application into one of the intermediaries, preferably True Fund, you will not have another opportunity to apply for the small business loans. That is at 0%, okay. 40% forgiven if you meet certain criteria, and those loans are up to $150,000.
Okay, Kim Evans, National Director of Corporate Communication for True Fund Financial Services, talking about Restore Louisiana. Kim, talk a little bit about it. Who are the people? I know you mentioned business owners, but who's kind of going to qualify for this? I mean, if you're sitting there, I mean, like if my business was affected directly by the floods, I understand that, but has anybody been affected indirectly? Should they qualify? Talk a little bit about who can qualify under this small business deal.
Yes, so those businesses who had direct impact, so they actually had water in the businesses, absolutely. However, there's a wide array of businesses that we're finding that are being approved because of loss of income due to the flood, just being in that area, and they didn't necessarily suffer direct impact, but indirect impact because of loss of business and loss of revenues. So we're just encouraging all businesses to come in, sit down, or even just jump on the phone and talk to one of our loan officers, because there's several businesses that we're finding that actually are getting approved that didn't realize they qualified for the money.
Okay. So in other words, if you were affected at all, then you feel like you were affected at all. And, of course, I'm sure there's a process. You got to fill out stuff, and you're going to have to prove, that you were affected by the actual floods.
Yes, you will have to prove that loss of income, showing your income before the floods, and then also showing what your income levels are after the floods. And I mean, right now we're a good couple of years after that. So if the business is able to show those losses, then they possibly qualify.
Kim, have you had a great response from a lot of businesses? Has it been just so-so? What kind of response have you gotten?
We have had a great response. We've had 13.5 million approved program-wide within the last 9 months, which is a really good number. Now, what we are finding is some of the businesses had already applied for money via insurance, so some of them had already kind of recouped all of their damages. But for those businesses who still have outstanding damages, they are applying and they're being approved. And so that 13.5 million is a result of that. Those businesses coming through the door and getting their information in and getting that money out the door.
Okay, so once again, tell people how to get in touch with y'all if they're interested in finding out if they qualify.
So they can go to our website at www.truefund.org, and that's TRUFUND.org, or call one of our loan officers at 1-866-329-8939. Now, again, because tomorrow is the last day, we're encouraging them to just download that application off of the website and get it in immediately, contact the office, or you can fill out that application and send it to a designated email, which is restorelouisiana@truefund.org.
All righty. We sure appreciate it. Kim Evans, National Director of Corporate Communications for True Fund Financial Services. All right, good luck to you.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
You're breaking me early? Okay, I know what you want to listen to. All right, we got to take a break. We'll do a little quicker, and we have a little long segment when we come back. I think we got a couple calls we may squeeze in as well. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Don't go nowhere, folks. One big segment to go. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Folks, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll be the first one to apologize. Elected official won't ever apologize. But I'm not wrong on what these guys are doing. I'm not wrong on telling you the Republican Party, I don't know why we're voting for them anymore. And they all start off with this little guy, Rob Shadwan. He sound like a whiny baby. Okay. He was on with Aaron and Robert. And, Brandon, I want to start off. We will back up after. I want to start off when they were asked basically we were overtaxed. And I want to get his comment. And then we're going to stop the tape, and I'm going to explain to you how he's full of crap. Here we go.
Question, and I don't mean it to be, but it's just something we ask most politicians that come on the show, especially state politicians. Do you think do you think the people of Louisiana are undertaxed?
Do I think they're undertaxed is the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, I don't think we're undertaxed, even though there's only 4 states in the United States that have an overall lower tax basis than we do. We're number 46 out of 50. So you can't say that we're overtaxed by any means.
Okay, Brandon.
But what I see...
All right. Well, first of all, he's so full of crap. There was a, first of all, for him to tell them we're not overtaxed. Why are businesses leaving? Why are people leaving? We are overtaxed. The whole American citizens overtaxed, and Louisiana is no different. Rob doesn't understand. Now, he mentioned, now, Brandon, here's how bass-ackwards he is, okay? He said we are 5th in the country and lowest taxes. That a survey came out. This was last Tuesday or Wednesday. And it said Louisiana was the 5th lowest tax state in the country. And that's where Rob's getting that number from. But here's what Rob does not tell you, because Rob's a politician. And not a very bright one at that. In the survey, they left out several taxes. You know, the biggest one they did not include in the survey was sales taxes. You know where we are in sales taxes? Number 1. If they put a quarter-cent sales tax on us, we still going to be number 1. Still going to be number 1. But it's not figured in that, so Rob just, he can throw out any numbers he wants to. That's what Bell Edwards and Jay Darden are throwing out, too. Folks, let me say it again. We are first in the South in per capita spending by far by government. Number 1 in spending, and we're not getting any results for it. Nothing. So Rob talks about, we overtax. Rob wouldn't be honest with his mama. He's not going to be honest with his kids. He's just not going to be honest. He's going to sit there and make up stuff. I ain't overtaxed. No, Rob. I just gave Rob Shadwan, who's a Republican, who, by the way, Brandon, in the other part we listened to, he says he just don't like it when people just follow their party politics. Well, then, Rob, why are you running as a Republican? You're running as a Republican because in that district you get smoked as a Democrat. Try it, Rob. Why don't you show us you don't care about party and register as a Democrat? They say, well, the party, well, he's a Republican to win. Why is John Alario a Republican? So he can be the Senate president. Why is Jay Dardenne Republican? Hell, I don't know what he's to slam Republicans, I guess. This guy don't have a Brandon, you got a little bit more on him? Okay. Now I want you, I'm going to stop.
Do you want to back up or do you want to keep going?
Go to that 6-minute deal.
Okay.
That we talked about.
Yeah.
I want y'all to listen to some more misinformation he's giving people. Rob Shadwan, a Republican out of Ruston, who loves a Democrat, who loves taxes, who loves big government. Here we go.
That we Louisianians put up has decreased by $200 million.
Okay, back up a little bit more.
$613 million.
Okay, let's
back up just a little more.
All right, here we go.
Going against the party grain, except when I think they're misled and wrong. And in this case, I don't know if there's been a total of $613 million in cuts. I do know there's been cuts because the state general fund, that is the portion that we Louisianians put up, has decreased by $200 million since 1617. So I know there has been some cuts, and the budget that we're looking at right now in this session is about $400 million less than the standstill budget that the Republican-backed Senate and House passed last year.
Okay, stop right there. Once again, misinformation by a politician, Rob Shadwan. The general budget consists of two things. It consists of the general money that they get in, income taxes, all that kind of stuff. And the other part of that, they get fees and things of that nature. When you combine them together, we're spending almost $2 billion more. If you combine state and federal, we're spending $5.4 billion more dollars than we had when Edwards came in 2014. That is a fact. You can go to legislative auditor. They'll show you that what I'm talking about is true. We've given y'all the numbers 1,000 times. And Rob Shadwan, who wants to be a liberal Democrat but can't because he can't win, what does he do? What does Rob do? Rob Shadwan gives you information that's misinformation. And that's what he always does. And he's done it again. Here we go, folks. Let me just pull this up, Brandon, because I'm a nice guy. Okay? State total effort in 2015-16 was $16.4 billion. Now, Brandon, you don't need to do Common Core with this. That was 15-16. Okay? In 16-17, it went from 16.4 to 17.3 billion dollars. That is a big time increase, folks. Okay? That's up. Oh, I got the percentage, I thought. Anyway, it went from 16.4 to 17.4. Okay? And then from that year to 17-18, which is the budget we're in now, it's going to be $17.8 billion. From 16.4 to 17.3 to 17.8. And Rob Shadwan gets on the Kill radio program and talks about how they got less money. Now, that's a guy somebody ought to be ready to run against him and use his voting record because it is horrendous for a, quote, Republican. Folks, that's what I mean by these people coming on these programs and throwing stuff out there. And Rob and Aaron do a wonderful job, but they're throwing numbers out there just rolling along. He told y'all he said the budget this year is more conservative than the standstill budget of last year. That is not true. That is not true. That is misinformation or a lie, whatever you want to call it. And Shadwan, come on this program with them numbers. Come on this program, Mr. Shadwan, I dare you. Come on, I'm a dummy. I don't know nothing. Come on the program. Let's talk about these numbers that you just throw out there for other people to grab. I'm going to tell you, folks, it's Republicans like that make me glad I'm not a Republican. This is what's sad about the Jay Dardenne type Republicans, Rob Shadwan, Julie Stokes, another horrible liberal. Okay? They only run it in the Republican Party because they can't win as a Democrat. They can never win as a Democrat in their district, and they know it. But when they win, they're going to turn on the conservatives and the people that put them in there. That's what we're watching right now. Broadwater, Shadwan, all a joke. Julie Stokes. I mean, these people are nowhere near the right people for the job. Jay Darden, he's been a liberal Democrat all of his life. Why did John Alario change over? Oh, Bobby Jindal said, I'll make you Speaker of the House if you become a Republican. Now, to Alario's credit, if you go back and read the article, John said, they asked him, why are you going Republican? Because I can't be Speaker of the House unless I'm a Republican. He was the only honest one in the whole deal. Rob Shadwan talks about, well, I disagree with the party. Rob, go run as a Democrat or a liberal. Or both. Same thing. Why are these people eating up the Republican Party and they voting just like they would if they were a liberal Democrat, and you and me are sitting back and watching it? We're sitting back watching this, folks. This is embarrassing. That man like that could go to Baton Rouge with no conviction except to raise taxes. His Rob Shadwan's only conviction is, I need to raise taxes. And he's doing it. These people shouldn't be Republicans. That's embarrassing. That's why I can't be one. Robert in Bossier City. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing great, Moon. You have some right. We have a few Republicans that don't share Republican values of less government, less tax, less intrusion, and on, personal responsibility. And we're working on the state central committee to do something about that. But that's not what I called about. This guy, this representative, he said that, we're not overtaxed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of indicators he's using, some little list, we're number 46.
Oh, by the way, he didn't even say that right. We're number 5th. They put out a list, but they didn't figure in several taxes, the biggest one being the sales tax. The biggest one, sales tax was never figured in the count.
Right. Well, there's an easy way to be able to tell whether a certain people are being overtaxed, and that's look at economic indicators. If your economy is going down, the government shouldn't be taking so much money. People should keep more. If it's flat, same thing. If it's going up, then taxes will increase naturally with that stuff. And if you take, we have a private sector and the public sector, okay? Mm-hmm. The public sector is the one that funds the private sector, okay?
Correct.
The private, 100%. Like the government, they're kind of like a leech. They're necessary. But if we let the leech get so big that it's killing the person, then we'll kill the person. So that's what we need to do. We need to reduce taxes. That will create the economy that we need. We'll never create it if we don't. And that will drive everything else and be able to fund government and the rest of people.
Yep. Oh, no, I think everything you said was right, Robert. I get frustrating that somebody like Shadwan and Julie Stokes, and you can name a bunch more, Jay Darden, have taken the Republican banner. And, I left a party because of people like this. And the bottom line is they could not get elected as a Democrat. So they don't run as a Democrat. But look at their record. Right. They're not conservative on social issues. They're not conservative on fiscal issues. They don't have any conservative bone in their body. But yet we keep electing because they're quarter Republican.
Absolutely. And that's something that we're hoping to be able to start taking them to task on in the party. I'm on the Rules Committee, and we are right now in the process of grappling with this particular issue, and we'll hopefully be coming out with something for the end of the year. But I think, Moon, the public government sector can't run without the private. That's the one that has the economic engine of our party.
I'd hate to say it, they couldn't buy toilet paper at the any government entity without the private sector. Not even one strand of toilet paper. Not one.
Well, let me jump in. It's like your own business. When you go out and make individual purchases on individual things, you tell the economy not only what to make, but you're the one that's driving that engine.
Let me ask you one other question.
One
other question to go along with what you're saying, because I got to go. The government has grown. Our income has grown it's actually hadn't grown. Our economy has grown at less than 3% over the last 14 years, and our government is up about 9%. That's never going to work. And that's why I don't understand Republicans like Shadwan them not understanding the budget. What about your budget needs?
One quick thing. I would like to see the personal and the corporate income tax done away with completely, because that we won't be punishing income anymore. We'll get a whole lot of corporations. Only problem, it's about a $2.7 billion hole, but we're going to have to move that somewhere. But that is what will cause our state to grow.
All right, brother. Appreciate the call. By the way, Mike Huvall, Representative Huvall, is reporting he was sick. It's amazing. He wasn't sick the day before. He's not sick today, willing to go back to work, but he was sick on the day of the vote. I'm just saying, he's a politician. I'm sure there's no chance that he could lie. No chance he could lie. I mean, he's a politician. And politicians don't lie. Folks, this is just starting the heck of a bad Sunday yesterday when I heard all this stuff was going down. I will be with you tomorrow, doing it again, watching them raise tax, belly Republicans. What a frustration. We'll be right back in 22 hours.